Hello and welcome here. If you have seen me before, it's no surprise to you that I really love my iPad. But my M4 Mac Mini is such a great device as well, there is basically nothing it can do. Yet, I still find myself using my iPad more than my Mac Mini. Let me explain why. Hello and welcome here. I'm Hamza Al Khatib, a fourth year dental student, and I love making videos about iPads, productivity, and studying in general. If you are interested, make sure to subscribe, and now let's get right into it. The main reason I find myself using my iPad rather than my Mac Mini is portability. My Mac Mini is fixed on my desk, but for my iPad, I can use it basically everywhere. I find myself taking it with me to the coffee shop, or to the library, or even in school. Well, my Mac Mini is just fixed to the desk and I can't use it except if I have a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse on a fixed desk. This isn't really ideal for someone like me. I am still a university student, so I am moving a lot. I need it with me in school, but I also need it to write down my notes and use it for my work as these YouTube videos. Now I don't have a laptop, I only have my M4 Mac Mini and my iPad. So in order to have the laptop-like experience, I've got the Magic Keyboard for my iPad. And honestly, it does give me the MacBook feel experience. Especially that the Magic Keyboard has a touchpad. And not only that, but my iPad is the iPad Pro version and does have Stage Manager. So with that, I can even put windows or applications in a window-like screen so I can use them just like I would in a normal MacBook. The fact that I can go from scripting a video here on my desk on my iPad and then going to the couch and still editing a thumbnail on the same device without missing a heartbeat is a huge win for me. And I can't get it except with the iPad as my Mac Mini is just fixed to the desk and I can't use it anywhere else. Another game changer about the iPad is that it does have a touch screen. The Mac Mini, my Mac Mini, just like all other Macs, is controlled with a mouse and keyboard. Yes, it is great, don't get me wrong, but some applications and some tasks just need touchscreen in order to get the most out of them. And this is where my iPad just shines and takes the place out of my Mac. Applications like Procreate for people who are creative and love to draw, or applications like Notability for students who love to take down notes using the iPad, or even LumaFusion and iMovie are specifically designed with a touch screen in mind. So this just allows for more creativity while editing or while using the iPad itself rather than just using a MacBook. And sketching down ideas with the Apple Pencil doesn't feel old school like sketching down ideas on the MacBook or my Mac Mini using a mouse and keyboard. The iPad OS also helps me stay focused. Yes, multitasking and having a huge screen helps in productivity. I myself have an ultra-wide screen for my Mac Mini. It is a 31-inch ultra-wide screen and it is really great. But sometimes I just need a small screen and to get in the work mode and just stay in focus. And this is where the iPad truly shines. Applications by default run on full screen on the iPad. But if I want the Mac view or the Mac experience of having the applications open in a window form, I can do that on my iPad just by activating the Stage Manager feature. This will allow enough flexibility and will allow me to use my applications on the iPad or even websites like Safari just like I would use on my Mac Mini. When I need to focus on writing, reading, or just editing my videos, the iPad feels like a distraction-free zone in comparison to my Mac Mini. My Mac is often filled with distractions and my iPad I can just turn on the do not distract mode and I will only have my editing view and I can edit much faster than I would edit on my Mac. Battery life on the iPad is also a huge win for myself. Obviously, with my Mac Mini I have to stay plugged in. But with my iPad I can even use it for a full day and sometimes more than a day and it will still have some charge left and I can obviously use it anywhere I want without having to stay tied to a certain outlet. Now another advantage of the iPad, but it's not advantage for me because my Mac Mini doesn't even make any sounds. But if you have an older computer or just an older Mac even, it will have a fan noise which is often distracting on the desk. But my iPad is just so silent and the same is with my M4 Mac Mini. Now of course that doesn't mean my Mac Mini is useless. I still use it for many tasks and it is honestly a very great device to use on a daily basis. But this just means that I sometimes prefer my iPad over my Mac Mini as it does have this extra portability and versatility. Now let me tell you a little bit more about why I really love using my iPad and I often use it more than I use my MacBook. Now one feature that I really like when I am on the desk and using my iPad is that I can use the same keyboard and mouse of the computer to use on my iPad. Now as you can see I'm using the Magic Keyboard and I am now controlling my iPad. But if I go to the right, to the far right, it will now turn into the Mac itself. As you can see up here, the mouse, it is the same mouse that I'm using. The Magic Mouse is right here and I didn't move it. The same stuff, it is now on my Mac and just by going to the left side, I can go to my iPad and I can control my iPad just like I would normally with the same mouse. And this is a very great feature that I really love. What I really love is with the Magic Keyboard, my iPad is honestly just like any other MacBook out there. I can turn on Stage Manager, but I don't even have to do it. I can multitask without it, and it will do everything that I would want in a iPad or a Mac. So editing is really smooth as well. Let me show you how iMovie works. It works just like it would on the MacBook itself, and you can use all of the features that you would need for basic editing like splitting, and the Apple Pencil here also works very nice as you can use it in order to move around in your video and in order to be more productive. Now also with my iPad I can even use commands just like I would on a normal MacBook. So commands and that shortcuts I don't really miss while I'm here on the iPad. I can use commands like the command space bar. Let me show you a little bit here better. Like the command space bar, and it will open the search feature for me, or command tab in order to switch between the applications that I was using. Now of course I told you about how I use my iPad for scripting videos, and honestly I use the notes application and it's a really nice application. This was my drawing, but let me show you the notes or the scripting and how I can do it here on the iPad. So here was some scripting I did for a video that I uploaded a day or two ago, so make sure to watch it. And working with iPad is really nice, it's smooth, and I can use the keyboard and I would be able to get much done. And as you can see, the aspect ratio or the aesthetics of the iPad makes it more like a work machine than you would here on a normal MacBook. I have here the Stage Manager turned off, so I want the application to be in full screen. And as you can see, you can get in the mood or you can get on the focus more as you don't really have any distractions. You are just here writing your stuff. And I often find myself working for longer periods of time while I am on the iPad, in contrast to just working on the Mac. As you can see that you will have the dock and you'll have 1100 applications and you'll have many stuff that can distract you, but on the iPad you are just here more focused and more in the mood to work for longer periods of time. Of course I don't have to have a keyboard connected to my iPad in order to type. I can just use the normal on-screen keyboard just by pressing here show keyboard. But honestly, I don't find myself using it as it will take a lot of my screen real estate. It will take like 50% of the screen. Then with all of that other stuff, you don't really have much to work with. So I often like to use the keyboard. And you don't even have to use a Magic Keyboard if you want to use your iPad. You can even connect the same keyboard that I had connected to my computer, the Logitech K380, and it's honestly a very nice keyboard. I've been using it for years. And it is so nice. You can even connect it to 3 devices and you can just toggle them between these different buttons. This is really nice. It is portable, it is slim, and it honestly has a weight to it, so it doesn't feel like a cheap keyboard. It's honestly a very nice one and I've used it for many years. Now for the iPad I also have here my Magic Keyboard, which Magic Mouse, sorry, that I often use. What's really nice about the Magic Mouse in contrast to other mouse in the market is that it does have a touch gestures. Let me show you. Like just with the mouse I can scroll or touch to the left side or right side and it will scroll on my iPad, and I really love this feature. Not only that, but let's say I'm on Notability and I'm reading here my notes, I can just scroll down using the Magic Mouse itself, and I often find myself using it a lot, so it's just more versatile this way. Like I'm scrolling down through notes, but at the same time I can just take my Apple Pencil and I can start highlighting or taking down notes very easily. This in itself is really nice and I really love it. Now talking about notes, I can be here on my notes and let's say I have a picture or I have a diagram that I want to add to the note itself. Let me show you how I can add it through my iPad, where it would be much easier as I can write on top of the diagram in contrast to just writing or having the diagram on the MacBook itself. So here is, let's say, a diagram that I want to add to my notes. I can just drag and drop it of it into my notes and just as easily it will be added. And this is just a feature of the iPad that I really like, as it does add to the productivity of having the iPad in contrast to just using my Mac. So you tell me, what do you think about the iPad? I really love the iPad. It adds a lot of functionality. It has much productivity potential, and it's honestly a great device to use, and I've been using it for years. You tell me, what do you think about the iPad yourself? So this was it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate if you can like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.